Okay, well, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. And we're on mindset number 7. And I refer to this mindset as it's the By Referral Only mindset. And the mindset that's required to ask for and get referrals. It's one of the most important mindsets that we teach here at By Referral Only. So I'm encouraging you to listen to this conversation with a fresh set of ears. And I know there's some of the things I'm going to share with you you've heard in the past, but like all masters, we always go back to the basics. We start with Vince Lombardi would start every season holding up a football and say to the team, "This is a football." Very fundamentals, the very basics. And so this is a conversation that when you want to introduce By Referral Only to a colleague, say that you have a person in your office that you deeply care about, that you want them to develop the skills and develop the mindsets and develop the sense of self-assurance and confidence on how to ask for and get referrals. This is the video that you refer to them. Now, I'll post this video on our YouTube station, and I'll give you a link to that. I'll have Lori give you the link to the By Referral Only YouTube station. And when you're in a conversation with a colleague or somebody that you do care about, and there's agents and lenders that you care about, that you're in a situation where maybe it's non-competitive and you feel like, I want to share the secret of By Referral Only. The easiest way to do that is introduce them to a training that will have real impact, immediate way to ring the cash register, immediate way for helping them to develop this art, science, and psychology of asking for referrals. So I'm going to ask you to take this video and to listen to it. And we'll provide it in the By Referral Only roundup that's going to come out on Friday. And we'll put a link that you'll be able to download as an Audible file where you could listen to this over and over and over and over again. It's one of those type of mindsets that we have to really fully integrate and assimilate so we can own it. This is something that you want to own as a mindset. You're a member of a community called By Referral Only, and you want to deeply embed the mindset and have a high level of awareness of what it takes to ask for and get referrals. So the mindset, that's the secret here, the mindset. And a really serious mistake that I see people make time and time again is trying to memorize our scripts, memorize our dialogues. And Dan does an amazing job when he does his magic words trainings that he does frequently for you. And one of the things I see a stumbling block that people have is the memorization or the imitation of the scripts. Now, it's really important that you do memorize them, but trying to simply memorize a really great script rather than having the mindset around how to gain and receive referrals is really important. Now, you can have all the words in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're only tapping into a very small percentage of the opportunities to get referrals. And that's why it's really essential to asking for referrals like the DNA of your business. It's more who you are. Who I am is a person who intelligently, articulately, with precision and meaning and purpose, and really know how to ask for a referral and really build referral mastery into your real estate and your mortgage business. And it's way more than just simply asking a client to refer you from time to time. It's an attitude. It's a way of thinking, a way that gets ingrained into the core of your very being. So embracing the mindsets that I'm going to share with you today is the first step in creating a very systematic referral process that can help you gain an unlimited supply of high quality prospects. So the first thought I want you to write down is the word commitment. And what I want you to really analyze as you step into 2022 is, what is your commitment to referral mastery? A commitment. When I really think of the word commitment, this is a mindset, and it means that you're committed truly committed to creating an experience for your client that is so refreshing, so healthy, so joyful for the client that all they want to do is refer you to the people that they care about because they feel your commitment to them. So just let that sink in for a minute, that the mindset is that you are so committed to creating an experience that's so refreshing, healthy, joyful, that your client wants to refer you to the people that they care about because they feel your commitment to them. So think about the purpose of your business. I often ask people whenever I'm in any business situation, I say, so tell me what the purpose of your business is. If you could give one word that would best describe the purpose of your business. And truly, the words that I hear most frequently are words like service. Oh, I give great service. Or as a business person, we want to be highly profitable. And both of them are critical, to be able to deliver an experience that is well beyond someone's expectations and to make money doing it. Then I suggest that a word that better encompasses everything that's highly profitable, highly sustainable is the word referral. So if you define the purpose of your business with just one word, the best word possible would be the word referral. So think about it. Just in your own experience, if you have a plumbing problem, would you rather look in the yellow pages or go Google it up? Or would you rather contact a plumber who is referred to you? Of course, most people with a level of consciousness would say, I would much rather work with somebody who has recommended or endorsed me. And still today, only 35% of all the people who buy, sell, or borrow are actually directly referred to a real estate agent. Only 35%. Now, a large portion of people will go online and look at reviews on Yelp and in Zillow, and they'll read what other people are saying about them, even though they don't even know who those people are. And they're looking for endorsement. They're looking for recommendation, which is not a referral. So we're not talking about building out a Yelp site at this time. We have plenty of training on that. We're talking about directly asking for a referral. And what you'll notice is that when you do that, that's how you become profitable, because building a referral business costs you literally nothing in marketing, since marketing is actually done by all the people who know you, who like you and trust you. Your marketing is in your language, asking for referrals. So if you're going to spend 2 hours designing a website, I would ask you to spend 2 hours mastering the dialogue of asking for in an intelligent, articulate way how to receive a referral, how to make that an automatic process in your business. And if you have any sense of worry about, well, what about giving great service? Just realize that in order for people to refer you, they must receive an experience that's remarkable. So if you're not delivering great service, you're not going to get a referral anyway. So built into a referral business is the notion that you do deliver great service, that you do reserve your capital for other things than advertising and promotion to attract people who don't know you, which makes you even more profitable. So consider the reasons that you're really in business to create an experience that people are so outrageously happy with that all they want to do is refer the people that they care about to you. So I really want you to embody that part of yourself today, that's the purpose of your business. Your purpose is to show up for all your client relationships with your advice, your knowledge, your wisdom, your love, your compassion, your systems, your procedures, and all your actions to lead to one simple outcome: that your client respects you and trusts you so deeply that they refer you to the people that they care about. And only when you commit to that level of consciousness do you produce an extraordinary referral result. Now, how do I know this? Well, I've been teaching referral marketing to real estate agents and mortgage professionals for more than 35 years. Over 1 million people have attended one of my workshops, have listened to one of my videos, have listened to a Morning Joe, have participated in some form of accessing my teachings over the last 35 years. And I can say with confidence that the biggest difference between being a highly referable real estate agent or a mortgage consultant versus just taking a referral from time to time is the level of commitment that you have towards building a referral business. It's all about how committed you are to that. So the question I'm asking you today is, are you willing to make a conscious choice to upgrade your level of commitment to referral mastery in 2022? How many of you are willing to make that level of commitment in 2022 to take it up another level? So give me some acknowledgement in the chat room if you are ready to absolutely, in 2022, make asking for and receiving referrals a much bigger commitment. So give me a shout out in the chat room for that. And that's the starting point. The starting point all comes to commitment. Now, I have a lifelong commitment to creating new ideas. I have a lifelong commitment to new thoughts, new insights, new strategies on how to get more referrals. That's my commitment to you. So taking an occasional referral is pretty easy. When it comes in, from a random source and you're surprised by it, that's rather easy to do. It requires very little commitment and not a lot of energy. The harder thing to do is to make a true commitment and a true level of dedicating your energy to having a flow of 10 to 15 5-star referral prospects every month seeking your advice, seeking your counsel. So the question I ask you is, are you willing to invest in doing whatever it takes to have the level of commitment that 10 to 15 people a month are coming towards you? Not all of them ending up buying or selling, but they're coming towards you because they're referred or endorsed or recommended to you to seek advice, to seek counsel, to look for answers to complex issues that they need to get resolved. It's that level of commitment. And if you want to be a highly referable real estate agent or mortgage person, it really just requires a solid, resounding, yes, that is my commitment. I want 10 to 15 people a month coming towards me. Now, I put that number 10 to 15 because now you have to organize the systems and the process, develop the language so you show up every single day knowing that your ultimate gain is in every moment be thinking that the intention of my business is 10 to 15 people a month moving towards me that are referred to me or endorsed to me. Now, the thing that you got to really be careful about, it's one of the most self-defeating questions that you'll ever ask is, how long will that take before I have 10 to 15 people a month coming towards me? It's a self-defeating question. How much more time do I have to put in before that actually occurs for me? When you're seeking mastery in anything, time is not the question. The question is, how much effort are you willing to put into this? How much effort are you willing to put forward into it? And then the time will take care of itself. Mastery is a lifelong journey. Mastery is a commitment that as long as I'm in the business, my intention, month in and month out, is to show up in a way where 10 to 15 people a month are coming towards me that are referred to me. And that's what this conversation is all about. So buckle your seatbelt, because what I'm going to do is I am going to rain on you right now what it takes to have 10 to 15 people a month to come towards you. So get your journal ready and take some copious notes, and then be willing to listen to this recording over and over again. And then remember, when you have a friend, a colleague, somebody that you really care about, and you want to introduce them to By Referral Only, you send them to the YouTube station to watch this video so they get a deep understanding of what's required in order to build a truly By Referral Only business. So the first thought, develop a referable consciousness. There's a level of consciousness that is required. Now, consciousness is the ability to have an awareness and a sensitivity about the relationship between yourself, another person, and the environment you're in. And there is a level of consciousness that's required to build a referable business. Now, many of you know agents and lenders that their level of consciousness is unreferable. They just lack an awareness around how they're showing up in a way that makes them completely unreferable. We can spot it in others. Can we spot it in ourselves? What are your blind spots that make you unreferable? And that's what the level of consciousness is asking of you, is where do I need to increase my awareness so my behavior matches my goals? So people say, I want to get 10 to 15 steady referrals coming to me every single month. Now, does my behavior match with my intention? So here's 6 behaviors that I've noticed that will expand your referral consciousness. And they're not easy because they really require a depth of awareness around yourself, self-awareness. And as Noah Harari and Gary Vaynerchuk and some of the brightest thinkers in the world say, that the single most important meta skill for the 21st century is self-awareness. And that's why we've cultivated a whole process on developing self-awareness through privatework.com. So as you go through this little assessment right now that I'm about to present to you, just keep asking yourself, how can I become even more aware of these behaviors? And even score yourself 1 low, 10 high on this. So number 1 is a consciousness about telling the truth, no matter what. Now, look deeply into that and look into your own experience and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 low, 10 high, what is my consciousness about telling the truth? Even when it's painful, even when it's not convenient, even when I can tell the truth, but also omit things that it's not the complete truth. So telling the truth, no matter what, and spotting when people are not telling the truth and calling it out. Fact checking, really deeply understanding what truth is versus what opinion is, or what works for me in this moment. The more honest you can be in everything that comes out of your mouth, the more referable you become. In the book, The 4 Agreements, there's the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. So on a scale of 1 low, 10 high, how impeccable are you with your word? You can go ahead and drop it in the chat room if you are at that place. And be honest. If there's room for you to expand, give yourself the score that represents what's the deepest truth right now. And there's some incredible private work that we've done that helps you overcome some of these thoughts that you have to develop around, I have to say something to make me look good versus tell the truth regardless of it makes me look good or not. So that's number 1. Number 2, a little more tangible and something that you'll recognize immediately in yourself is your awareness about being on time for every scheduled appointment. The gap between I said I'm going to start at 9 and I start at 9:06, that gap between what my intention is and what my reality is, that gap right there is the gap in character. I have a guy that does a lot of personal work for me here on my home. He's a wonderful guy. I love him to death. He's been working for me since I've moved here, and takes care of, he's my house manager. The challenge I have with this young man is he doesn't show up on time. He says, I'll be there at 4:00, and he shows up at 4:45. And he's always got a great excuse. He's always got something. And he's a busy guy. And I respect that. And I continue to use him over and over and over again. And I will use him and employ him and always go to him first where any time I have a challenge that I need something. But here's my deeper truth. I will not refer him. Because when I have in the past, people have said, this guy does an amazing job, but he doesn't keep his word around time. And that reflects back on me. So when a person endorses and refers you, their character is on the line. So when I referred him and the person comes back and says, hey, I like this guy, but he doesn't show up. I mean, he says it's going to be on Tuesday. He shows up on Thursday. Joe, and he doesn't know him. He doesn't know the quality of the work that guy can do. And it reflects back on me. And I've had the conversation with him a few times, and it's okay. I tell him the truth. I'm not going to recommend and refer you anymore because you don't show up on time. And he's got a bunch of excuses, but it's the hardest thing for us to do as human beings is refer people who don't keep their time commitments. So on a scale of 1 low, 10 high, how would you rate yourself on your ability, your willingness, and the reality of you keeping your time commitments? 1 low, 10 high. And you might want to check with people closest to you. You might want to ask that question of the people who know you well and just say, hey, where's my time commitment in your life in regards to me? Number 3 is really understanding the distinction about being interested versus trying to be interesting. And I want you to take this on as a learning, but also a deep understanding is that when you're in conversation with somebody, you're either attempting to be interesting, talking about your accomplishments and talking about you and what you've done and me, versus genuinely interested in them. I mean, how long can you be in conversation without even letting the word I appear? All of your focus on them. And it's a cool exercise to play with this notion that if you can stay in conversation for an extended period of time, focusing completely on another person without having to talk about yourself. Now, if you do talk about yourself, I would encourage you that you talk more about what you're learning that will help them. So if you're going to talk about yourself, talk about the fact that you recently went back and got your CRS degree, or you went and took a class in how to negotiate more effectively. And you did that to represent them in a more effective way, like always bringing it back to them. So instead of talking about your achievements, like how many homes you've sold or how much money you've made, or you're the top agent in the office, talk about the things that you're learning and you're developing in yourself that they benefit from. So talking about yourself, but in regards to how they benefit from it, is a conscious behavior that makes you more referable. So scale 1 low, 10 high. Where's your consciousness around your focus on others and reducing the focus on yourself? The 4th notion is consciously increasing your awareness that acknowledging people for the behavior that you've asked them to produce. So when somebody shows up on time for an appointment, acknowledging them for that behavior. So if you have a 12 o'clock Zoom call and the person shows up on the Zoom call, acknowledging them first for that. Hey, thank you. You said you're going to be on time. It's 12 o'clock and here you are, you're on time. That's an indication of your integrity and your respect for my time and the respect for others. And I really acknowledge that quality in you. Thank you for being on time. And always looking for a place to acknowledge people for who they're being and how they're showing up. And when you're in a negotiation and you notice people are taking the interest of the other side and acknowledging that, thank you for being willing even to see, what the buyer might be going through right now as they're struggling to find a home, and the empathy and the compassion that you're showing for them. Acknowledge that part of you who can see that. Continually acknowledge whatever qualities that you see in others that you want more of. And we all have a tendency to acknowledge or point out the things in others that we don't like, versus bringing into your consciousness how much more awareness you can bring to only acknowledging what you want more of in others. And one of the techniques that will take you a long way in business is the skill of writing handwritten notes. Now, I've created a whole library of handwritten notes note cards for you. And on all the note cards, and you can find these in the By Referral Only store, it has the seed. A referral is introducing a person you care about to a person you trust and respect. And those words are magic words. And when you write a note and the front of your note card says a referral is introducing a person you care about to a person you trust and respect, what you're saying is, you can trust me, you can respect me. And when you refer me and introduce me to somebody, you'll be the hero and they'll trust and respect you for the referral that you've given to them. And there's a consciousness around that. The fifth thought around this is be really conscious about admitting when you make a mistake. It's how fast can you admit you made a mistake? I was doing some coaching for one of our members, and I was talking about calling his past clients. And I said, just give me a list of, like 3 or 4 of your past clients that you haven't talked to in a number of years. And he rattled off a couple of names. And I said, tell me about that first name. What's the story that you're telling yourself that is causing you not to stay in touch with those people? And his response was, well, Joe, when we closed on the transaction, the fireplace equipment was part of the transaction. And I did the walkthrough before they came in to do their final walkthrough. And I noticed that the fireplace equipment wasn't there. And then when they came into the home, they didn't notice it, and I didn't say anything. And then a couple of days later, I got a message from them saying, hey, where's the fireplace equipment? And I'd been avoiding that. I never returned their call. And you could feel the pain in that. And the mistake that he made was he didn't clean it up immediately. How fast can you clean up anything that's gone wrong? And the more time between when the thing is gone wrong and when you clean it up, that gap is the gap of unreferability. And so part of our coaching on that day was that make that call, clean that up right now. Even though it's a year or two later, clean it up as fast as you can. Even in the 12-step traditions, in Alcoholics Anonymous, there's 12 steps. And one of the steps is to constantly admit when you're wrong and clean it up as fast as possible. Now, mistakes are going to be made. You're in a complex industry. You're in a complicated industry. There's a lot of people involved in the transaction. Things go wrong. That's just the way it is. What makes you referable is how quickly you admit your part and how quickly you clean it up. So scale of 1 low, 10 high. How many of you could improve in that one area there? Good. Well done. Yeah. Now, this last one, it's a consciousness, but it's a consciousness around giving people permission to share how they feel about your services, how they feel about the experience. It's almost like you're hungry for feedback. I love the thought that feedback is the breakfast of champions, that you're constantly asking them, is the level of help that I'm providing you, the experience that you're having right now, is it the experience that would be worthy of you introducing me to the friends and family members that you care about? And constantly checking in with people all the time, particularly during the transaction. There's a couple of wonderful books written on this. One of them is called The Ultimate Question. And the ultimate question is on a scale of 1 low, 10 high, how willing are you to tell a colleague, friend, or a family member about my services or about the help that I'm providing you? And that's a really important question, not to ask at the end of the transaction, but to be asking the entire time, and recognizing anything below a 9 as a score, anything below a 9 as a score, the person may be satisfied, but they're not an active advocate for you. What scores referrals is a 10. And so when somebody says to you, yeah, Joe, on a scale of 1 low, 10 high, it's about a 7 or an 8. And, one of the things you could ask, you can ask a couple of questions, but one would be, well, why isn't it a 6? And that tells people, they'll get to tell you, all the good things you're doing. Then you say, and why isn't it, an 8, a 9, or a 10? Well, what has to happen for it to be an 8, 9, or 10? And you got to stand in the pain of what they're about to tell you. And it could be, hey, you don't get back to me on time, or you told me that the sign was going to be up on Tuesday and it didn't get up until Thursday, blah, blah, whatever it is. And you got to be willing to stand inside that feedback and make the adjustments. Now, if you're not willing to do that, then don't ask the question. But it makes you highly referable when you give people permission to share how they're feeling, good, bad, or ugly. So those are 6 things. Number 1, be conscious about telling the truth no matter what. Be conscious about being on time all the time. Be truly conscious about being more interested than trying to be interesting. Be super conscious around acknowledging the behavior in other people that you want to see more of. Be really conscious about writing handwritten notes. Be conscious to admit when you're wrong and quickly clean it up. And be conscious about giving people permission to how they feel about the help that you're providing them. So can you see what makes this conscious referable behavior? They're all things that will get you referrals by actively thinking about this and remembering this. And if you look at those 7 thoughts there, what you'll notice is most people don't adhere to all of those. They may adhere to 6 of them, but they're not all 7. And if you want 10 to 15 referrals a month, it's mastery of those 7. So all in favor of making 2002 the year that you score a 10 in all 7 of those areas. So you get that flow of 10 to 15, say aye. Because that's what mastery is all about. It's a consciousness. It's a consciousness about being on time. It's a consciousness about behaving during the transaction in a way that is encouraging all the truth to be told, all the feedback that they want to give, a lot of strength, a lot of character. They refer to your character. They refer to your integrity. Consciousness in the context of referability means you do what you say you're going to do because you are committed to building a referral business. And it all starts with you and your willingness to become more conscious, more self-aware around the things that are limiting your referability. So it's a mindset. Now, the next mindset that I want to drop into is asking for referrals. So on a scale of 1 low, 10 high, how would you rate yourself at this moment in regards to your skill set around asking for referrals? Give yourself a score. And then I want to compare your score to where you are right now. And then when I'm done with this conversation, how much we can niche it up right now in this next, 35, 40 minutes. All right. Where are you right now? Just give me some score right now. In your minds, we all have a way of saying, when it comes to asking for referrals, this is where I rate myself. So I'm looking at some good scores there. And I'm looking at some scores where we could really use some improvement on this. So would you write down this thought? The words that you say are absolutely critical. And Dan Paris is a genius at referral dialogue. And every month he's doing the magic words calls. And anytime you get a chance to work with Dan and help you develop and cultivate linguistic skills, he's the best in the world at it. What I'm interested in is, as much as what you say, it's what part of yourself is saying it. So I like to say it's like this. It's not what you say, it's who's saying it. Now, if you have been tuned into these mindsets that I've been teaching, I've been referring to the many selves that we have. And when it comes to asking for referrals, there seems to be a multiple of selves that appear. Different parts of ourselves appear. So one of the selves that can appear is the needy self. How many of you are familiar with that needy part of you? That it comes off as a little bit grovelly. It comes off with a lack of certainty. It might sound like this: "Hey, if you happen to know of anybody," and because I don't want to pressure you on this, but if you know anybody, would you send them my way? Because I sure could. I really do need your referrals. There's a neediness into it. Stuart Wilde calls it, we lean into people. They can feel our neediness. How many of you are familiar with that part of yourself? I certainly have that part of myself. When I'm in an uncomfortable position and I need something from somebody, it shows up for me, and sometimes in my trainings where I'm like, "So how'd you guys like what I did? Are you learning anything from this? Is this good? And do you like what I'm doing?" And like, I need their acknowledgement. I need their approval. And I could feel that part of me appearing, inside my language. I can feel it. I go, "Whoa, that feels so needy." How many of you are familiar with that part of yourself? If you just acknowledge yay or nay, because we all have it, and we know we can feel it in ourselves. We can feel because we can feel it in others. How many of you are more aware of it when you go, "Boy, that's a needy person. They really are kind of needy," and it's not an attractive quality. So every self that we have has an opposite self. So we all have a self that is a protector. We protect ourselves. It's the earliest self that we develop. We develop the skill of putting up a persona that protects us. Now, the opposite of persona or protector is vulnerable. It's authentic. It's real. And most of us are more aware of the protector as primary and vulnerable as disowned. And asking for referrals opens up some vulnerability, opens you up to being authentic. And if you're not familiar or you don't have ownership of your vulnerable self, what you'll do is you'll ask in a way that's trying to protect you. And one of the ways that we ask when we're protecting is we sound needy, we sound scripted, we don't sound authentic. And one of the challenges is when we sound scripted, a person can tell it's not your words. It's like you're copying somebody else's words. Versus when you're truly authentic and vulnerable, you take the words that I share with you, you imitate them, you learn them, you integrate them, you assimilate them, and then you innovate with them and you use them in your own way. So, for example, I teach you to sit down at the initial consultation and always begin with the purpose. And I've integrated this deeply so I can say it in the most authentic way. I can say, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, my purpose is for you to be so outrageously happy with the help that I provide you that you guys will gladly introduce me to at least 2 or 3 people that you really care about, even before the transaction is closed. And it's not because you feel obligated, but it's because you really want to see the people you care about get the best help that they need when it's time to buy or sell. So while I'm helping you buy or sell your home, you're going to notice people who could use my help. And I'm asking you to introduce them to me and refer to them to me even before the transaction is over. So that's my purpose. And I'll be checking in with you from time to time to see if I'm on purpose. I'll say to you, hey, at the beginning, I told you that my purpose is for you to be so outrageously happy with the people with the help that I'm providing, that you'll gladly introduce me to the people you care about. How am I doing so far? I can say that in a way because I deeply have embraced this mindset that I need to speak to my purpose. Now, those are my words. Now, as you learn those, it may come off, in a different way that has to be more authentic to you. And I don't know what that is, but that's the risk that you take. So you may sit down with the person and say, I'm part of a community called By Referral Only. And what I'm really learning how to do for the first time in my business is talk about how important referrals are to me. As a matter of fact, I was on a training a couple Wednesdays ago, and what I recognized in that training is I don't really explain to people what my purpose is. And it's so important that I let you know that my purpose is for you to have an experience that causes you to feel so outrageously happy. I mean, I learned that word, outrageously happy, because that's what I really want for you. And I want you to be so outrageously happy that you gladly introduce people to me. That's what I really want. I'd love you to do it before the transaction is even over. And I'm just learning how to communicate this for the very first time. And I'm even a little nervous saying that up front. But I know that when you go to a movie, you want to walk out of the movie and tell other people about it. When you go to a restaurant, you want to walk out of the restaurant and go, that was a great meal. I know that you want to refer people when you have a great experience, and I want to provide that experience. And I want to say that up front because that's how my business is built. Now, I don't know if that's how you're going to say it or not, but where you're coming from is more important than the exact words. Scripted versus authentic and real. And that's what I mean by embodying your authentic self, embodying the part of you that is self-assured, embodying the articulate self, embodying the part of you that is truly aware that anyone can pick up the thin clank of the unauthentic. If you're nervous asking for referrals, speak to your nervousness. It's okay. If it's awkward for you, speak to your awkwardness. That's what authenticity is. That's what honesty is. Now, there's another thing called fear. Fear is different. And we want to rise above our fear of asking for referrals. We want to grow up and put our big boy pants on or our big girl pants on and rise above our fear. And so how many of you right now can see an opportunity right now in just asking yourself, who is asking for the referral? Is it my needy, groveling, scripted persona, or is it my self-assured, articulate, strategic, innovative, authentic self? How many of you can see the distinction there between those different parts of yourself? And it's not about disowning this. It's about recognizing that you have that part of you and you need to speak from that place. Now, this is a very powerful level of awareness. But to get 10 to 15 referrals coming to you month in and month out, it requires a level of consciousness, a level of awareness that is far beyond what the typical real estate agent is operating from, who wants just a script. Oh, by the way, do you happen to know of anybody who wants to buy or sell? We're talking about low levels of consciousness there. By Referral Only is a high level of self-awareness. And that's why it's a level of mastery. And that's why you're part of this community is that you know the commitment that it takes to mastering being highly referable, by referral only. Those words scare the daylights out of most agents. Most agents, when they think, by referral only, I can't do that. Yeah, your level of consciousness doesn't allow for that. So I understand that. So let's raise your level of awareness. Let's raise your level of consciousness so you can embody that. And one of those things, what we must do is rise above our fear of asking for referrals. So where does the fear come from? First, to get past your fear of asking for referrals, you need to deeply understand the answer to this question. Where is the fear coming from? You got to really know the answer to it. So when you're about to, pick up the phone or step into asking for a referral and you feel the fear, and you know the difference between neediness and scripted, but you feel the fear. Where's that fear coming from? Now, in my experience, this fear is coming from 5 different places. Number 1, fear occurs when you ask for a referral from a place of weakness. Coming from a place of weakness. There's not strength in your request. My friend Allison Maslin says, is that your certainty must trump their uncertainty. So if you're asking from a place of uncertain, your fear is going to rise. So when you're coming from this place, that fear is rising and you're thinking, a thought that says, I don't really know if I'm referable. I don't really know if I've really delivered referable service. Is this the right time to ask? When you start to second guess yourself, and one of my coaches, Dan Sullivan, says, is one of the greatest things you'll ever do in life is let go of second guessing yourself. The amount of energy that you spend second guessing yourself is one of the greatest sources of drained energy. So when you say to yourself, I'm going to ask for a referral, there's a commitment that's made and there's no second guessing that commitment. So when you sit down to make a call and you say, today's the day I ask for referrals, that means today I ask for the referrals, not second guessing it. So when you start to second guess yourself, fear is going to rise. So what I'm asking you right now is to say to yourself, I'm asking because I'm referable. I'm asking because I'm referable. Would you all say that to yourself silently or out loud? The reason I'm asking is I'm referable. When the fear rises, God, I feel the fear coming up. I don't know if I should. No, wait a minute. Stop. I'm asking because I'm referable. I really believe that what I offer people is extraordinary. I don't need referrals. I want referrals. I don't need them. I want them. And if they give me a referral, that's great. And if they don't give me a referral, that's okay. When you lean on people like you really need the referrals and you come from this place of weakness, it causes fear to rise because they might reject you. Fear occurs when you don't provide enough value to a client to ask for a referral. And you know it. When you know that you're consulting and you're negotiating and your transaction coordinating oversight has not been strong with a particular client, and then you ask for a referral, you're probably thinking something like in the back of your mind, well, God, I didn't return their phone call 6 times. I messed up, around the washer and the dryer. And now I'm asking for a referral. Fear will rise. So sometimes you have to listen to the fear. Sometimes the fear is informing you saying, you know what? You really haven't provided enough value. You haven't checked in with them enough during the transaction to see how referable you are. So sometimes the fear is informing you in an intelligent, articulate way. Can you see how fear can be a helpful tool here? It's because you're asking and you don't feel like you've provided value. But for most of you, you do provide an enormous amount of value. You go well beyond their expectations. And you don't ask. You expect them to refer, but you don't ask. And that's that fear rising. So I am referable. I am referable. I am referable. I do deliver a level of service and help to people that is extraordinary. I don't need their referrals. I want their referrals. And if they give me a referral, great. If they don't, that's okay also. And keep repeating that mantra in your head over and over again. Fear also is going to occur for you when you haven't planted referral seeds. If you haven't planted referral seeds in previous conversations with your client, and the first time you're ever using the word referral is when you're asking for a referral, it's going to create some fear for you. So learning to ask for referrals after you've planted several planted referral seeds. And Dan teaches a lot about planting referral seeds. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But it will increase the likelihood that you feel like you're going to be rejected because you haven't even talked about referrals in the past. Just a really good habit to get into is before you ask for an introduction from a client, just ingrain this is always ask for comfort first. Here, write down these words. And if you could just get this today, it will eliminate a lot of your fear. So you'd say, hey, the next time you're talking to someone who wants to get a larger home or a smaller home or move to a different part of the country, I'm curious, would you be comfortable introducing me to that person so I can help them? Now listen to those words. Craig, the next time you're talking to a real estate agent or a lender, and you notice that there's somebody that you care about, that you'd like to see them succeed in business, and you want them to be more effective at asking for referrals, would you be comfortable introducing that person to By Referral Only so we can help them? Now, listen carefully. I promise you that fear will start to be reduced when you start to ask for comfort before you start to ask for referrals. So when you say, hey, the next time you're in a conversation where the person wants to buy a home, when you introduce them to me, fear rises. Fear goes down lower when you say, hey, the next time you're in a conversation with a friend, a family member, a person you really care about, and you know that they have plans to move out of an apartment into a larger home, or they are currently living in a home that may be too small for them, they might want to live into a larger, more spacious home, or they've been talking about just getting out of California. I'm curious, when you come across a person like that, would you feel comfortable introducing that person to me? I'm really curious. And what you're checking for is comfortable, not for referral. And once you know your client is comfortable with referrals, it's much easier to ask for referrals. Fear occurs when our unconscious programming has stacked a bunch of our limiting beliefs. Like we start to build a set of beliefs around asking for referrals, and when they're stacked up and we're up against those beliefs, and those beliefs just get stronger and stronger if we don't feel the fear, know it's informing us, and in the moment, take an action. Your beliefs create your reality. If you have a limiting belief about your ability to successfully ask for a referral, then you're likely to create situations in which you're unable to receive them. The only reason your beliefs have power over you is because you've decided that they're true. But beliefs are only the same thoughts that are repeated over and over again in your head. I love that thought. I love the thought that belief is simply a thought that I have repeated over and over again, which means you can change it. Pay attention to your thoughts about asking for referrals. Pay attention to the feelings. Notice who you're being when you're asking. Notice when fear is informing you. It's that little voice that speaks to you. It says, I don't know if I should say this or not. I don't know if I should call them. It's that inner voice. If I said this, they might not like me. It's that little voice that says, hesitate, delay, procrastinate. That's fear. Your power to overcome that fear is practicing recognizing that and then replacing that fear. I have an affirmation that I say to myself over and again. It's, I'm free of fear. I'm free of fear. I love reminding myself that I've managed to come through everything that's ever happened to me in my life. Look at everything that you've come through in your life. I've come through it all. And right now, it's really worth me noticing right now that the real estate market, it goes up. And right now we're in this upward trend and it's going to come back down. And it's funny how some people choose to worry about things they have no control over, like the market. And experience shows that fears, worries, anxieties only come when I imagine unpleasant things from my past or unpleasant things that I imagine can happen in the future. And when I allow myself to get really present in the moment, feel the fear, and notice that the only thing I have to fear, as Roosevelt says, is the fear itself. And just having a thought that can create a positive feeling can really produce a new behavior. Here, I'm going to give you a little mantra right now, and I want you to write this down, and I want you to repeat it over and over again. So here it is, word for word. I am by referral only. I am by referral only. That means I have to ask because I love myself. I constantly behave and think about how truly referable I am right now. I'm on the cutting edge of referability. My consulting, my negotiating, my organizational skills make it easy and joyful for people to love introducing me to the people that they love. I am by referral only. Put this on your bed. Print this out and put it everywhere around your office. Put it in your mirror. Put it on the back of your cell phone. Put it on the dashboard of your car. Print this up 25, 30 places and keep on saying to yourself, I am by referral only. That means I have to ask. It means I have to ask because I love myself. And I'm constantly behaving and thinking about how truly referable I am right now. I'm on the cutting edge of referability. My consulting, my negotiating, and my organizational skills. That's what people pay you for. Consulting, negotiating, organizational skills make it easy for people and joyful for people to love to introduce me to the people that they love and that they care about. I am by referral only. Gosh, I love that thought. I am by referral only. That means I have to ask. Because I love myself. I love myself. And I'm constantly behaving and thinking about how truly referable I am right now, in this moment. Not someday, right now, I am referable. I'm on the cutting edge. You belong to a community called By Referral Only that is the cutting edge of referability. Your consulting, your negotiating, and your organizational skills, it makes it easy and joyful for people to love introducing me to the people that I love, that they love. I am by referral only. Now that's called an affirmation, an incantation. And when fear rises in you, it's not about getting rid of the thought, it's about replacing the thought. That fear is rising because it's informing you. It's a part of an intelligence that you have. And what that fear is saying is, replace me with something that represents who you truly are. What are the words that represent who you truly are? What is the higher version of you? And this affirmation is one that you could recite over and over again. So how many of you are willing to take that incantation, that affirmation, and read it out loud over and over again over the next like over this lifetime until it gets totally ingrained into your consciousness. So you start to embody all of the behavior. And then when it's time to ask, you ask in an intelligent, articulate way. How many of you are willing to do that? And this is more about not what you say, but who's saying it. So let me just give you a little bit of linguistic skills and a little deeper understanding that will help you really embrace this mindset. Understanding the number one reason people recommend you, the number one reason you would refer a friend, a colleague to By Referral Only, the number one reason you refer a bakery or a restaurant or a movie or a book. The number one reason people recommend or refer anything is it makes them feel good when they can give something to somebody they care about that they know will acknowledge them for referring it. So when I refer my daughter to a book, my daughter has a really strong opinion around vaccinations, and I love her dearly. And I said, I suggest that you read this particular book. And I actually got her the book on Audible, and I sent it over to her. I'll tell you the name of the book. And I don't know the author. I don't know the publisher. I don't have a relationship with them. But I love my daughter. And I want to send her something that when she listens to it or reads it, she's going to come back to me and say, thank you, Dad. That's why I refer it. I want the feeling that I'm going to get from my daughter for what I've shared with her. Now, that is why all referrals occur at the unconscious level. The name of the book, by the way, is called Get Well Soon by Jennifer Wright. Get Well Soon by Jennifer Wright. And if you have thoughts around the vaccination, I'm not going to tell you what the book is about, but this will open up more consciousness around that. It's called Get Well Soon. And she listened to the book and she called me in tears and she said, Dad, thank you so much. I've been struggling with this. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm so grateful. I was able to introduce her to this book. Now, I don't know the author. I don't know the publisher. I don't even give a hoot how much money they make from this. I did it for me to get that feeling from her. So recognize the number one reason people recommend people that they care about to you is to make them feel good. And when you don't ask for referrals and give people permission to refer you, you are robbing them of that feeling. You're stealing that from them. Take responsibility for that. Grow up. Handle your responsibility to ask for and be highly referable so you can give people that feeling. So when their friend calls up, when a person refers someone to you, and then that person who referred calls the person who referred and says, thank you for referring Jim. That was an extraordinary experience. I loved everything he did for him. That's why you want to become a master at referrals. You want to give that feeling away to other people. And if you are so self-conscious and your level of awareness around not being referable is so low, you are stealing that feeling from other people. That's a high level of awareness. So I love this language. Jim, imagine how good you're going to feel when you introduce the people you care about to a person that you really trust. Imagine how good you're going to feel when your friends thank you for introducing them to a person like me who can help them. Imagine how good you're going to feel when you know that your family and your friends are getting the advice that they can count on to make their dreams come true. Now, notice what's occurring in that language pattern. I repeated the same phrase 3 times. Now, listen carefully. If I said to you, Nancy, imagine for a moment how good you're going to feel when you take the time to introduce an agent or a lender to this video. And the person watches the video, and afterwards they send you an email or they call you on the phone. They say, thank you. Thank you for encouraging me to watch that video. I have a whole new level of awareness about what it means to be by referral only. Thank you for doing that. Imagine how good you're going to feel. Now, I really want you guys to imagine that for a moment. Imagine that you introduce this video to a person that you care about, maybe someone in your office, maybe you're your broker or your owner, or maybe a competing agent on the other side of a transaction that you're just noticing that, wow, they could really learn a level of consciousness that would make our industry much better. And imagine that you give them the video and they watch this video. And I'm speaking to you right now because this is on YouTube right now. And so you may be watching this right now because somebody cares about you right now and they sent you to YouTube to watch this video. Now imagine how good you're going to make them feel when you call them up or send them a text or send a short video to them and thanking them for introducing you to this conversation about raising your consciousness around referrals. Imagine how good they're going to feel knowing that you were impacted by this. Now, at our core, that is our primary reason that we refer. And if you can understand that and then put language to it in an authentic, real way. So when I'm with a person, I just might say to them, hey, John and Nancy, when you notice a friend or a family member who could use my help, would you feel comfortable introducing them to the people that you care about? Oh, Joe, I love everything you're doing. You've been doing an amazing job. Well, I'm curious, when you think about all the people that you do know, and I know you know quite a few people, I'm wondering who comes to mind first when you think about somebody who's living in an apartment that would like to live in a home of their own. I know you might know somebody. Who comes to mind first there? And they go, well, Joe, I really don't know anybody, but I will keep it in mind. And I said, well, hey, thanks for thinking about it. Now that we've thought about it and talked about it, there's a good chance that you're going to notice other people, particularly people who live in an apartment that could love to own a home of their own. And perhaps you'll notice that more. And then when you notice it, you'll stop and you'll take out your cell phone and you'll look up my number and you'll call me immediately and we can talk about that. And then you'll introduce them to me. And just imagine that there's going to be a day in the future that a friend of yours is going to call you up and say, hey, thank you for referring Joe to me. Just imagine how good you're going to feel when you're able to introduce the people that you care about to me and they feel so good that you did. Just imagine what that's going to feel like. Now that's a beautiful track right there. You want to integrate that as a way of speaking consciously to referrals. Now, I have mastery of this. You imitate, you assimilate, you innovate. But as Dan will teach you and all the things that I teach inside the Magic Words Dojo is there's magic words that get referrals. One of the magic words is imagine. Another magic word is feel good. Imagine and feel good build rapport. It builds rapport in the unconscious mind. And helping people feel good is what builds rapport. Now, this is a fairly high level of consciousness that's required in order to absorb this conversation. And I trust that you have that. I trust if you're watching this and you were referred to this, that you want to have this. But it's really crucial to know that whenever you're working with people, your intention should always be to have them feel good when they're with you. If you're calling somebody up and you're giving them good or bad news on the phone, always leave them with the feeling better than they felt before they picked up the phone. Leave them with the experience that they say, every time I talk to Joe, I just feel better about myself. That's a mindset. And if you're not in a mindset that if you can't call somebody to make them feel better about what's going on, then wait until you can. The number one reason people refer is they feel good around you. They feel good referring people to you. So your job is to help people imagine what it's going to feel like when their sister or their cousin or their brother calls in a few weeks or a few days and says, hey, thank you so much for introducing me to Joe. He's helped me buy the home of my dreams. We got this 3 big bedrooms. Our son has his own room. We're in the school district that we wanted to be in. Oh, we're so freaking grateful. Thank you. So when somebody says, here's my brother's information, give him a call. He really needs your help. What they're really saying is, make me feel good. Call my brother. Make me a hero to my brother. So the next time I'm talking to him, my brother feels so good. That's your responsibility, is to help people feel good about introducing the people that they care about. Mastery. How many of you are starting to get at a new level? How many of you are starting to understand that there's a place that you could take your skill set that you have not taken it before? Now, there's a couple books that we have inside the bookstore that I would highly recommend. This is my epic piece of work called Asking for Referrals, 37 Ways to Get a Referral, 37 Ways to Ask for a Referral and Get It Every Time. And if you're not part of the community, you can go on Amazon. You can pick up a copy of that book. Dan Paris and I wrote a book called the Referral Dialogue Handbook. You want to have that in your library. And these 2 books, you can get them both on Amazon. If you're a By Referral Only member, you can pick them up in the By Referral Only store. And I'm curious if you could answer this yes or no. And the question is would you feel comfortable introducing the agents and the lenders that you really care about to this video? Would you feel comfortable doing that? Yes or no?